to meet you. And it's really wonderful for you all to share your time with me. I hope that we have a great time and that I have some interesting things to share. And I am really looking forward to hearing you all. Um, I am on the voice faculty at Mannes, which is the Mannes School of Music, which is part of the College of Performing Arts at the New School in New York. It's one of the three conservatories in Manhattan, and I'm wearing my Manus hat today. A lot of the faculty are work serve on other faculties also. So I also happen to be on the faculty at the Juilliard, and but today I am representing the Manus and all of our wonderful programs there. We really benefit from being a part of a larger university because we can offer cross-departmental, interdisciplinary study, which is really exciting in these days in particular, as you all have had to completely reinvent yourselves in this forum and in all of the sort of new technology that is being advanced and the wonderful ways in which music is now being made and the performing arts continue to grow and develop. So I will try and leave a little bit of time at the end of our time together in case anybody has any questions. You can also throw things up in the chat, and if anybody has a question. But in the meantime, why don't we go ahead and get started? So, who would like to begin?
If it is okay, I would like to start things off.
Okay.
Is that okay, Natalie? I saw Natalie's hand, but that's great.
All right, so we'll have Natalie next, and then Emma, you can go third. Is that fine? Okay. Great. Let's
Terrific.
get started.
Oh, is it me?
Yes, it is.
I'm sorry.
Hi. So I'm sorry. Tell me your first name.
My name is Kang San Kim. I am a junior, and I will be singing Andi Music by Franz Schubert.
And where are you at school currently?
I attend the Orange County School of Arts.
Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to switch to speaker so I can see you, and I'm going to.
Do I just begin?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Du holder Kunst in wie vertrauen Stunden, wo mich das Lebenswilde Geist umsteht. Hast du mein Herz so warm an Lieben gefunden, hast mich in eine bessere Welt entrückt, in eine bessere Welt O Vater, ein Seufzer, deiner Harfe entflossen, ein süßer Heimat von dir. In Himmel bessere Zeit am mir entschlossen. Du holder Kunst, ich danke dir dafür. Du holder Kunst, ich danke dir.
Terrific. Kang-san, that's great. What a gorgeous piece. And it's, you know, it's exactly why we are all here today, right? I want you to think about the idea. This is the range of this piece, right? Just do for me a super sloppy portamento on an ah. And on the intake of breath, I want you to make space, the sort of sense of resonance space for every note you're going to sing. Okay? Good. So my suggestion would be make sure you take the breath for that F sharp as if you were going to sing that. Allow the resonance space you have for the top to inform the bottom. So don't drop your, it's actually your soft palate. Don't drop your soft palate to kind of dig into chest and go, but good. And in a way, if you think about that line of notes happening horizontally rather than vertically, we're not spending the song kind of going low, getting high, going low, getting high, but we're going to maintain a sense of resonant stretch all the way through. So let's just go from the in the second verse, as it were. Du holde Kunst, ich danke dir. And I want you, when you take the breath before ich, have that space for the F sharp already, okay? Du holde Kunst, ich danke dir dafür. Excellent. Tell me what that felt like.
It definitely felt a lot. I definitely felt more resonance, and I also noticed it was a lot easier to sing than when
I'm all about easier. Yeah, that's great. It also was more even. And I mean, ideally, we want an even scale, bottom to top, right? There are going to be resonance changes throughout our range, but there needs to be head in the very chesty bottom, and there needs to be chest in the very heady top, right? So in essence, all through our range, it's going to be a sort of a varying set of percentages. But the idea, if you do that sort of portamento, still has to have some resonance, still has to have a chest connection. So if you can think, I don't have my little visual aid here, hold on. I've been teaching lessons all year from this very spot. So I have this little visual aid. If you imagine that our voice sort of functions like this rather than this, right? And we maintain that resonant space all the time, everything we do does become easier. Okay? Let's go now from Den Himmel. Den Himmel. Can we go from there? Same idea. Breathe for the highest note in the phrase. All right. It's all right. And go ahead and imagine that you're leaning on the air. So there's going to be constant airflow all the time. Yeah. Different?
Yes, much better.
That's great. It's really beautiful. Let's start it again with the accompaniment now. And I want to introduce one other idea I want you to think about. And this is, if the three ladies who will be singing after can sort of take notes on this, because I'm sure that I will be saying all the same things. I am a huge fan of a round vowel. Okay? In a male voice, that often means the same idea as cover when we talk about that. But the idea is that we're going to have bottom and top in every tone, right? And every tone we sing is going to be round and full and rich and colorful. So the difference between singing our vowels I, O, and keeping them more round and spacious, which also allows me to stay very, very efficient in the mouth. So speak the first line for me. Take a breath as if you were singing it, but I want, at the risk of offending our coaching friends, I want you to feel sort of lazy diction. Du holde Kunst in wie viel grauen Stunden. And do as little with the mouth as you possibly can.
Du holde Kunst in wie viel grauen Stunden.
Good. Now you just proved an incredible point. If you are thinking the text clearly, even if you sing in with that round resonant space, we hear it clearly. So just something to consider going forward. Diction happens in the brain, not in the mouth. Okay? I could have taken dictation from what you just said. It was perfectly clear. So go ahead and start it. Sing it with that round sense. Okay? And imagine that it is happening horizontally and you're breathing resonant space for the highest note you have to sing in every phrase. Okay? Go ahead and play with the accompaniment. Hold on there. Good. Hast mich in eine bessere Welt. Imagine this, okay? Just from there. Hast mich in eine bessere Welt andrückt. So what I really would like is that you imagine very legato, feel almost scoopy going for that note rather than forward. Imagine that you're feeling this rather than this. Hast mich in eine bessere Welt andrückt. Good. Did that feel different? Yeah. And another way to think about it too, this is the bel canto notion of appoggiare, appoggia, which means to lean. Make sure that you're moving air into that space before you need it for the note. So, here, you're moving the air. besser weit and rückt, so that you're not suddenly trying to shift gears. From there, once more. Hast mich
Hast mich in eine bessere Welt entrückt. In eine bessere Welt entrückt.
Good. Do that last phrase. In einer Welt. Keep it super legato and don't let anything close down as you go low. Okay?
In eine bessere Welt entrückt.
Good. One more time and make sure get into the center of the pitch first before you move to the next note. Right? In fact, I don't necessarily need the portamento, but I want you to feel that physically. I want that much legato.
In eine bessere Welt entrückt.
Yeah. Now I know it doesn't feel as powerful in the low when you still maintain that space, but I promise you, if you keep thinking about this, it will feel stronger to you, and it already is a more resonant sound that in an acoustic space will carry more than when we naturally kind of press into the low. I mean, and I as a tenor do that all the time, right? I always think, oh, I gotta get the low out. Actually, my low, I can do much more in my low if I allow it to speak in a released way, the same way we want to feel the top, right? Terrific. Thank you so much. This was wonderful. I just got my notification of our time. So,
Thank you so much. It was great.
yeah, bravo.
All right, great job. All right, so next we have, are you ready for our next singer? You ready? You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello.
Nat- Natalie, go ahead. Thank you.
Yes, hello. Is my audio on?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Perfect.
Just introduce what you're singing and you can begin.
Okay. Hello, I'm Natalie Mastali, and I will be singing Wir Wandelten by Brahms. Oops, one second. Let me reconnect to my speaker. Okay.
Beautiful. Oh, another gorgeous song. Really, really wonderful. Let's work backwards also again. And my hat is off to all of you who have been having to deal with these technical things and hooking up your speakers and doing this and singing to recorded tracks. And it's wonderful that we have so many available to us now. But know this, that we are moving back into a place where you will be making music and not having to take up that brain space to constantly be hearing if you're together, because there will be someone else there that you'll be making music with, and that it's so wonderful. But in the meantime, you all have learned some invaluable skills, because I do think things like online recordings are going to be the first step in the audition process for a lot of places. So it's great that you're all learning how to do this, and to be able to do it with so much poise and the sort of grace of, here I am standing in the foyer of my house and whatever, and sharing this with you. It's really wonderful. Thank you. Can we do those last two phrases, say, just on ah? And I would like a really round ah, so it might feel a little more like awe. And I want you, again, breathe for the highest note in the phrase and see how legato you can make these. And pay very, very close attention to what it feels like in your body. Not at all interested in what it sounds like. Okay? Yeah. How'd that feel?
It felt like easier to get through the phrase because I felt like the line was a lot more connected, less choppy. Because normally at the end of that phrase, I get a little like worried about breath. Like I feel like it's not gonna end on a great note because I'm running out.
Sure. Two things about that. One is, now I want you to sing it with the text, and I want it to feel as legato as that. So do a lot less in terms of the mouthy diction. The other thing is, take more breaths if you need to. Okay. Don't ever get yourself, as long as you, even in an audition situation or in a performance, as long as you take a breath with intention, we will think it's meant to be. Yeah. We don't ever have to know. So wunder. Can you go ahead and speak it for me once?
So wunderlieblich.
Even with the e and e vowel, keep the lips round. So wundersüß, so wunderlieblich. Okay?
So wundersüß, so wunderlieblich ist in der Welt kein anderer Haar.
Yeah, I know that feels incredibly weird, but can you describe what it felt like resonantly, like in a resonant way?
It felt more like all in one spot. Obviously more rounded.
Yeah.
And more relaxed. I feel like especially the E was less like splatty and more forward.
That's so great. So it naturally will go forward, but what we tend to do is, particularly speaking American English, is we go E, and then we jam it forward. We don't allow it. The voice will, I'm sure you've all heard people talk about the voice turning and those kinds of ideas. Well, sound will naturally, if we have resonant space, the sound will naturally turn because it's vibrating and it's finding its sort of freedom, right? If we are alert to creating this resonant space rather than trying to get it to go forward, it will do that, right? So we're in charge of production of sound. We're not in control of the sound itself. So things like lieblich instead of lieblich becomes a much more resonant sound that will do all its natural sort of turning and spinning and the things that we want it to do. Okay? Cool. So even the O, super closed. Zo!
Okay, so keep the lips really.
Yep.
Okay.
And think a really pure vowel. And so this is another bel canto notion. Think the pure vowel, sing through an oo space.
Okay.
Okay? Beautiful. What did that feel like?
I felt like it was the same as when we did it on the ah, like more legato. Everything felt more connected.
Great.
And I definitely think the lips helped
Yep.
because even if I wasn't like thinking about the super O vowel, I think the lips just kind of like forced it to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of, that rounder mouth allows the sound to sort of, if we imagine that our sound is kind of spinning and whirling around, through that rounder mouth, it gathers. And that's that sort of almost narrower feeling that you can get, rather than the kind of pointed feeling we often get if we brighten and go forward. I mean, it's really sort of weird. It's more the idea of, the resistance band, this little guy, or like a bow and arrow. The more I can get stretched, the more I can actually pull back on the string of the bow, the farther the arrow is going to fly.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's go back to the beginning with this idea and go ahead and play it with the accompaniment.
Okay. So with the O vowels and
Yeah.
keep things really legato.
Loud and sort of stretchy breath.
Okay.
Right there. So, Natalie, when you go for that, let it rip a little bit.
Okay.
Try and make it precious. I try and get my students to think of dynamics more as color than as loud and soft. Okay? Then at that point, your voice is going to blossom. But you can see how round I can still keep my mouth. Yeah? That's still a little.
That's spread.
Do it just on ooh once. Really spacious ooh. It's not going to feel pingy. I want it to feel sort of domey, kind of yawny. Ooh. So now. Ooh. Good. your lips you started to get a little wide, then you brought them back. Did you feel the difference?
Yeah, it feels a lot more like vibrant and pingy, but in um like mature way, not like bright and like out
Right,
there.
right. Yeah, that was beautiful. Good. Go ahead and start it up again, and talk to me about that.
I felt like it took a lot less work, and I think also when I focus on something, it's just like a like trend of mine that if I pick one thing to focus on, the like rest of my attention kind of like
Oh,
falls.
that's great. That's terrific, and it's good that you know that about yourself too, because that's a great way to work around problems that you might be having, right? Issues in a phrase or something. The I would posit to you that you were actually doing more work, but the right way. So
Yeah.
you were relying more on your breath and resonant space rather than the sort of sense of kind of guiding and directing our sound from here. And so the analogy I always use is you're learning to lift with your legs and not your back, right? You know, everyone says, no, lift that with your legs, right? Because your legs are much stronger and can actually take more weight. So in essence, this is what you're doing when you rely on your breath and your natural and in completely unique resonant space, then we are getting your very specific and unique sound, and it's really terrific. Can you start from where you stopped, or do you have to rewind?
Yeah, I'll just see where it goes.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're right about at so schön war alles.
I think so, yeah.
Thank you. That was great. That was great. Any questions?
I don't think so. I feel like the like rounding of my lips helped a lot to
Right.
get like right resonance. And I think the one E spot that we worked on, as I was singing, I noticed that there were a lot of other E's that I can apply that to.
Every single one you sing. Yeah. And all the closed vowels. So again, this was something I got from my teacher. I studied with this remarkable woman named Margaret Harshaw, and she would say, think a pure vowel, but always sing through an oo space. So if you sing all of your music with that spacious oo and get the feeling, you can reproduce a feeling in any space, but you can't reproduce a sound, right? When you start singing, when you're back at school again and actually singing in auditoriums and theaters and practice rooms and all the different variety of places you will be singing, you can always reproduce these feelings, and that's what you should go after. Okay, terrific. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you again, Natalie. All right, so now Emma Grace, are you ready?
Hi, yes, I'm
Hi.
ready. Let me just pull up the accompaniment.
Great. What will you be singing?
I will be singing Sure on This Shining Night by Samuel Barber.
One of my favorite songs.
Playing from iPhone.
Sure on this shining night of stars made shadows around, kindness must watch for me beside the ground. The letter lies on the north Paris Sure on this shining night, I weep for wandering far alone of shadows on the stars.
Beautiful. Oh, it's such a wonderful song. Oh, yeah. Good. I would love to experience a little bit more of that rounder mouth too. You have the most beautiful smile, and it's so wonderful when you sing. Think about smiling from here up more, and make sure that you let your sort of resonant space do more of the work for you. Also, singing in English can always be a challenge because we're a very consonant heavy language, and I want you to sing on the vowels as long as you possibly can. And so think of that, that horizontal line I was talking about. That's your vocal line. And if that is seamless on the vowels and you just drop consonants in, almost like raindrops on a stream, right? Then they fit in places like sure on this shining night of the star-made shadows around, that they're not going to stop your line ever. Okay, so let's. Cool. Talk to me about that.
I felt like I think I could have taken a better breath, but I do think that I could hear the difference, and it wasn't so the vowels were definitely more pure because my mouth and
Okay.
yeah.
So, do it again. Go ahead and take the better breath that you. I mean, what I always tell my students, I'm just going to stand for a second, is to imagine you really release all these muscles that we tend to hold in all day, but that you really release those low muscles so that they can then engage and that we function sort of like a big bellows, right? Okay. And this time, pay more attention to what it feels like than the sound. Okay. Let me stop you really. Emma, do you breathe through your nose or your mouth when you sing?
Mostly my mouth.
Okay, great. I personally am a fan of that because I feel like I understand the notion of breathing through our nose to sort of feel the lift of our soft palate, but if you can get yourself to do that through your mouth, it saves a step. The other thing which you are doing, but I felt like you sort of took the breath and then positioned your mouth. Let's do it all in one. Sure. Yeah.
Must watch for me beside the ground.
Beautiful. I would ask that you sing kindness rather than miss.
Yeah. Okay.
Kindness must watch for me, just because it's easier for us to hear. I think English. That was beautiful, though. Did that feel different to you at all?
Yes, I definitely could feel a little bit more of the resistance with my breath to make sure, especially my mouth shape definitely helped because
Right.
I was feeling like I was struggling to get the air out. It was just kind of flowing. So that was definitely better.
Right. And I mean, and we work like a balloon, right? So if all of these low support muscles are sort of moving the air out, we naturally kind of inflate and but those muscles keep working, so there's just constant nothing ever in singing. It can feel like things get a little rigid, but in essence everything is still in motion because sound is vibration and vibration is motion, right? So I mean that makes sense. Now it's gonna let it feel really sloppy. You got to take a breath though. That was gorgeous, but don't be afraid. I have been there. If you feel like, oh no, I want to feel all, it's just that much more stretch. You can take a breath, release these low muscles without changing anything here. North, all is healed. This doesn't have to change. So the idea, what we're trying to build into our technique is the idea that everything we do is efficient and really pretty simple, right? I'm not changing the mechanism for different vowels, for different words, for different languages, or for different pitches. I'm basically opening up my instrument, taking it out of the case, and playing it, right? So, the late, once more.
Oh, I did it wrong. I caught myself. Okay.
Beautiful. I want to make one other suggestion to you. Imagine that you're starting that note like Yo-Yo Ma on the cello, right? I want you to bow, long bow, rather than striking it, right? I don't want all, I want all, okay? Once more. Yeah. Good. What's that feel like?
I definitely could feel, I was visualizing the cello, but I definitely I think I tried to go too hard on when I caught myself to try to have that dynamic.
It's going to feel in a, that sort of Bowie idea really works for a lot of people, but it will also feel sort of scoopy, right? All is healed. Yeah. Can we just go from no, let's go from all is health. You can connect that more. I don't need health. I need health. Yeah. All is health. If it helps, I'd throw a little shadow vowel in there. All is health.
Okay.
Yeah. Because again, for my money, it's about the vocal line. I get the text. All. Round, high. Go on. Right. Think earth and not
Okay.
Right? That's an American thing we all do. It's an American R. Think more of a British R. Earth. Oh, the earth. What a lovely day on the earth today. But high summer holds the earth. And we'll still understand it. That's so beautiful. How does that feel?
It definitely feels like I'm not, it feels a lot easier, for lack of a better word, because I think I can get it out super easy without feeling like I'm trying to like grab breath or that, I'm trying to hold it and I can hear the note or feel it shrinking. So I think that's definitely helpful.
And look, I'm glad you said it that way because it's really important that you understand it's allowed to feel that easy. Because you're still doing the work. It's just that you're doing it more efficiently. So it's gonna feel easier. Because I know if you're anything like me, you'll go into a practice room later to go, okay, I gotta do all that again. I gotta make sure that works. And if it doesn't feel hard, you'll think you're not doing it right. But you are. That's really, really beautiful. And again, pay more attention to the feeling so that you'll know hearts all whole. You'll know what that feels like, and you'll be able then to reproduce that feeling. Good. Sure.
Oh, I did it again.
Think again, really Bowie. Sure. Yeah. Sorry, this is the whole step. Yeah. It adds a huge dimension of richness to your sound, right? The same way that I'm sure you heard it when Natalie was doing that. It just, because suddenly we're getting not just overtones, we're getting the undertones. And what we want is the whole thing, right? Yeah. That's beautiful. Really wonderful. Questions?
I would say, what would you recommend as far as like when you start and you're taking that first breath? How do I ensure that I'm feeling that resistance so I know that I'm going?
So I always try and really pay attention to release of the low muscles, right? Because I can't engage those muscles if I haven't released them first. And it's not something we're used to, because when we're just speaking and going about our day, we're not conscious of our breathing. That to me is the only thing that distinguishes breathing when we sing from regular breathing. It's not that there is a unique aspect to singer breathing. It's that we need to be very aware that we are always allowing the release so that we can engage and utilize that air. Okay?
Yeah. Thank you so much. This was so helpful.
My pleasure. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you so much, Emma Grace. If you're ready for our last singer, Leah, then you can go ahead and unmute yourself and begin.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm going to be singing Carbinos, Non so più cosa son. Non so più cosa son, cosa faccio, oggi fuori son, non ricordo, ogni donna cangiare, ci condormi, ogni donna mi fa palpitar, ogni donna mi fa palpitar, ogni donna mi fa palpitar. Sola e non mi dà morte di letto, mi si turba sotto il rimpetto, mi sforzo t'amore, onde sei io non posso spiegare, onde sei io non posso spiegare. Non so più cosa son, cosa faccio, ogni porcore son, ne caccio, ogni donna cangiati calori, ogni donna mi fa palpitar, ogni donna mi fa palpitar, ogni donna mi fa palpitar. All'amor beivando, all'amor sognando, all'acqua non profonde, alle glorie vente, alle glorie vente, che un sembranti agenti portano a te. Portano via con sé, pallo d'amor beivando, pallo d'amor sognando, all'ombra, ai monti fiori, alle erbe, ai fonti, alle colarie venti, che son degli centi, portano portano via con sé. E se nonno chi vota, e se nonno chi vota, fallo d'amor con me, con me. Fallo d'amor con me.
Terrific. Good. I want to do from the last. Why am I not seeing it? E sfondevano gli accenti, portano via con sé. So that you can do it in your own time. Again, chapeau for doing it with a recording. I mean, you'll never have to do that because this is all about you getting to make choices. I want to do that to the end, so that again, time, right? Same idea though for our purposes. That's basically the range, right? Yeah, I want you just sing this note. Sorry, up the octave, that one, the high one, yeah. That's the space I want you to have when you take the breath. So nothing here changes. All you do is use your air to energize the stretch you've already made to sing that note. And then the voice mixed more naturally too as you came back down, without you having to consciously do it, right? So it's interesting for mezzos because you're always having to kind of feel like you negotiate chest voice, head voice. What I have found is that if you sort of throw open all of your resonant space, low and high, the voice will mix itself. It will find its most resonant space. You don't have to suddenly go, oh, well, this is an A flat. I need to do X, Y, and Z. You just go, right? So if you go, can we go from there? Good. Now make the A vowel super round too. Good.
What do you mean by this?
To keep the lips round. Me. Not me. Imagine that vowel is actually going toward oo rather than a. What does that feel like?
Not A. Like now it's less A and more A.
Yeah. I'm more interested in what it feels like inside. Because it was a beautiful, pure A vowel for us. Parlo d'amor con me, con me. But you didn't have to form it. Yeah? Try it again. Yeah. It adds a beautiful sort of richness to the quality of the sound. I don't know if you're experiencing that or not.
It does. It's less A. Like it feels more.
I gotta be honest with you. I have yet to meet a voice that needs to add brightness. I know it's one of the things that we all say because it always feels like a really quick fix to go, well, just get it all really speaky and forward, and then we can, that has not proven to be effective in my performing life. I still, even though I teach now quite a bit, I still do perform, and I find that again that idea of thinking the pure vowel rather than trying to form it in my mouth allows my diction to be clearer and allows my scale to remain more even. Okay, so can we go back to Che suonde vania centi? Yeah. What I would love is for you to do a lot less with the diction. Just say it for me once, like I gave you a shot of Novocaine. Che suonde vania centi portano via con sé.
Il suonde vania centi portano con sé.
I got every single one of those words. Perfectly clear. All right? Sort of sing it that way. Yeah. Now you can still think the A, right? You change that pitch with breath, not by doing anything here, right? Once more. Yeah, beautiful. Do it fast now without thinking about it. That was great. How did that feel?
Like I want to go on and keep.
Yeah. Good. I'm sorry I stopped you. Do it again and go on all the way to the end. Talk to me about that. Yeah. But that's great. It's beautiful. It's so much more even then too. And it allows you to be as expressive as you want to be. Right? Let's go to the beginning with this idea because it's easier to stay with the recording. And so Mozart, what I love about this aria is he's made it breathless without you having to be. So I want you to think legato and let the that takes care of your emotion. You can go non so più cosa son, cosa faccio, or di fuoco sono di ghiaccio, ogni donna. Yeah, you can say super legato. Mozart takes care of the breathlessness. Okay? Yep.
Non so più cosa son, cosa faccio, ogni fuoco ne son, non ricaccio, ogni donna che giace calori, ogni donna mi fa palpitar, ogni donna mi fa palpitar, ogni donna mi fa palpitar. Sono ai nomi da morte nel letto, e se turba mi tenta
Let him feel sloppy.
non so più cosa son, cosa faccio, a divorgere son, a ricaccio, ogni donna che genti calorri, ogni donna mi fa pavitar, ogni donna mi fa palpitar, ogni donna mi fa palpitar.
Good. Hold on one sec. Ogni donna. Make sure that when you do ogni donna, that you don't ever come forward. That it feels more like you go, like let it be every woman in the world rather than this way, right? You did it the first time. Ogni donna mi fa. Just do it on your own. And do me a favor when you get to do, just bend your knees the slightest bit. Consciously, you went up for the G, and I want you to do just the opposite. Ogni donna mi fa.
Mi fa.
Keep going. Palpita. So there's this weird thing that can happen sometimes. If you bend your knees on a sort of what feels like a popped high note, it releases our jaw. It's like an unconscious thing. Ogni donna mi fa, and that's what you want to do. Donna mi fa. And the more you can, as you continue working on this piece, the more you can let the diction feel lazy in your mouth, the easier it will be ultimately. And I promise you, we will understand it better. Okay? Which is, what's that phrase? It's counterintuitive to think that you can have lazier diction, but the audience will actually hear it more clearly. But the distinction is, if I'm watching you sing because you're going, non so più cosa son, cosa faccio, I'm not listening. But if you go, non so più cosa son, cosa faccio, e di fuoco, whatever, non di ghiaccio, ogni donna mi fa di colore, ogni donna mi fa palpitar, I have to listen, and suddenly I hear better. Yeah. I mean, it happens to me all the time. If I take my glasses off and someone starts talking, I don't hear them as well, but because I can't see them. So it's that same idea. If we're listening to you clearly, we hear better. So you can truly do less, and we will get more, and it will be easier for you. Thank you so much. Thanks for bringing this. I love this aria.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I have one question, if you don't mind. Like this thing you were talking about with the first boy, applied to females too. Like, can we do the same?
It should feel like yawny stretch when you take your breath. That sense of your soft palate going up and your neck and everything sort of expanding but it should feel like Xena Warrior Princess. You pull back the string of a bow. Okay? And in those phrases like that, yeah. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Great job. I put in the chat, at the very top of the chat, I put an email address, performingarts@newschool.edu. That will take you directly to admissions for Manus. So if anyone has any questions about the school, about and there's also I guess this has been recorded if there's anything you want to hear. Oh, there it is again. Thank you, Justin. That is definitely, if you've got questions about the school, about curriculum, about applying, you can also contact any of us in the voice department. It's basically our last names first. I am burdenw@newschool.edu. And I am happy to hear from any of you if at some point you are looking at grad schools and thinking about Manus. New York is the place to be. So if you and all of my colleagues are available to answer questions and to do trial lessons and whatever it is that is best going to serve you as you continue your journeys.
Excellent. Well, congratulations to all four of our singers for wonderful work in today's class. Your colleague that did the presentation at the expo, was that Beth Roberts was her
Yes.
name?
Yeah.
Yes. So if you all are, if you look back, I believe the recordings are up. If not, they will be in the coming weeks from our college expo. There was a presentation on the new school and all its components, the history, the programs offered. That was in our expo as well. So you all can look back at that for more information. But we do have just a few minutes if you all have any other maybe technique questions for William while he's here. If not, then we can conclude. Okay, go ahead, Natalie.
Okay, recently I've been struggling with like tongue position because I've gotten into the habit of like when I keep my tongue grounded at my teeth, the back of it wants to go up, and then when I try and get the back of it to go down, then the tongue falls back.
Right.
And sometimes I feel like I dig into that nice like resonant yawny space where the tongue is just nice.
Right.
But it's like, do you have any tips for getting that to apply everywhere? Like,
So I think of my tongue, I sort of attach my tongue to the list to my sort of checklist on my intake of breath, right? So I'm going to get my soft palate up. I'm going to get my neck and the base of my neck open. I'm going to open my throat. My tongue is going to lay in my mouth like a foot in a slipper, sort of this way. If I'm facing this way, my tongue is going to lie this way, and the bulk of the sort of meat of my tongue is going to become the anterior wall of my throat, the front wall of my throat, right? Because our tongue is huge, actually. The blade, which we see and which gets troublesome, is really just a small portion. So this part basically stays, and everything stays a little flexible, like our larynx, right? We don't want to ever compress or depress. But if you do have a tendency, either in your speaking or your singing, to allow your tongue to get sort of up and forward, I will say that there is definitely a sense of sort of strongly, standing in front of a mirror and watching it and make your brain tell your tongue to lie flat. And it will feel like we're doing that a little bit. And then you'll be able to find some balance. But ideally, sound is about space. And so we want our tongue to function in the same way that we want our larynx to, that it is mostly going to be about allowing us space for that, our resonant sound to spin. So I do that on the intake. I let my tongue and my jaw sort of feel connected in a way. And I release my jaw usually from the hinges rather than trying to press it down at the bone. It's kind of it's a smaller movement than we might be accustomed to, but it's the idea, again, it's that yawny sense of the tendons where the jaw attaches and the tongue can just kind of settle in there. And we don't really need it. We don't need the tongue much for diction. Occasionally a flick for an L or an R, and it will float a little bit, but for the most part, again, the diction happens in our brain. So it goes back to that idea of having a sort of lazier diction in a weird way. That I really can, without doing much of anything here, still make sure that in a resonant space, the sound I'm making is clear. But without actually sort of doing the chewy diction thing that we all Americans tend to do.
thank
Any
you.
other questions?
All right. Well, I guess that's our only question. That's an interesting point that you made, William. My teacher says all the time that the vowels are really kind of shaped by your throat, and a lot of the vocal resonance pedagogues talk about how you can do the flick on your for the A E I O U kind of sound.
Yeah, the thing is, my only issue, again, I'm always trying to find a consistent and really efficient and simple way for those things to happen. That it is very naturally true that the shape of the throat does affect the sounds, but if I'm in the middle of, V Melodien, I don't have time to think about that. And so I do trust and have proven out in my performance life that if my brain is on point, if my brain is keeping the diction clear, my body responds in the way it is meant to. And singing is really 90% mental, I mean, the percentages can change. It is a really mental activity, and our body responds in the way it is meant to. And if we get out of the way, largely, our most resonant sound will find its expression.
Absolutely. Oh, well, we have one more question it's our last question we have time for. It's from Ben. He says, "Hello, I'm a young 15-year-old singer whose voice is heading towards tenor. I'm having trouble with my E vowels and my passaggio, specifically from E to F sharp. Most of my other vowels feel fine in that area, but my E vowel feels stuck. Any ideas on how to make it feel less stuck?"
Yeah, in my experience, which was very similar to that, that if rather than trying to brighten the E vowel to round it, so in the E, let it feel lower there than you think it can, and a little more round, and I think that you'll find more consistency. So go again from that sort of ooh place rather than from a brighter space.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much, William, for your time today. I hope everyone has enjoyed this class, and congratulations again to our singers. I encourage you to check out the link and I'm sorry, the address that William shared, which is performingarts@newschool.edu, and to go back and check out our expo recording as well to learn more about the programs. And I just had a couple of reminders for you all. As you know, our online exhibit, is tomorrow from 3 to 7, which is Saturday. And we are giving away those 4 $100 Amazon gift cards for any attendees who tag us on the social media have a chance to win that. And our CS Music app is now available on the App Store for Apple users. So please check that out. Check out and update your artist profile, audition listings. All those opportunities are there on the app. So again, I want to send a thank you so much to William for your time and your expertise. And I hope everybody enjoys the rest of the convention.
My pleasure. Have a wonderful time, everyone. And just as a quick clarification, that link is actually an email address to admissions. So if you want to just check out the school, just go to newschool.edu and then go down to Manus under the College of Performing Arts. And you can get all sorts of great information.
Thank you for that clarification. And guys, remember that tonight we do have our main stage masterclass with Carol Vaness tonight. So please stick around for that. And I hope to see you guys later. All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.